Peace and love, family. Welcome back to another Sunday Hope and Healing session. I'm Royce Fletcher Thomason. And through the Sunday Hope and Healing sessions, we look to bring encouragement, to bring and inspire hope in your lives, and to share with you some tools that you can use to help to optimize your life as you engage through this spiritual journey we call life as a human being on planet Earth. And so, our topic for today is how to have a pure heart. Wow. How to have a pure heart. This is a topic actually that is very near and dear to me, certainly close to my heart. I didn't, I've been on the spiritual journey for a while. And a lot of the reason that we do the Sunday Hope and Healing session is because there are a lot of things that people have seen in me over the years and seem to value and appreciate, and they think that I'm somehow different and unique and special. And in a lot of ways I am, only to the degree that you are too. We're all different and unique and special in our own way. Now, I have been consciously engaged in the spiritual journey for a while, and certainly there is some fruit that's come as a result of that. And I believe that to whom much is given, much is required, right? And so I endeavor to share with you things that have really been a blessing to me on my journey. A lot of the things that you all say that you see and value and appreciate in me, these are things that aren't just unique to me. And I'm happy to share with you how you can, be able to enjoy that type of fruit as well, right? And so I am a thinking person very much. A couple years ago, my mother had given me this shirt that said thinking, and then it had like the circle, like buffering, because I can certainly be given to uh, overthinking. Years ago, it used to have um, letterhead that had Rodin's The Thinker, the thinker up in the top is in the header of my letterhead, of my letterhead that I would send, professional letters and things of that nature out on, uh, probably even resumes. I've always valued the power of the mind, right, and intellect, right. And for many years on this journey, I would do, I spent a lot of time reading, a lot of time studying. I was trying to get all the knowledge that I had, right? I was trying to become as knowledgeable as I can about the meaning of life, the mysteries of the cosmos, and all of that, right? And I would do these different exercises, and over time, I came to realize that the true measure of one's spirituality isn't really so much how much they know, right? Not so much how much knowledge that they have. Or even being able to, to utilize certain laws to manifest the things in your life that you would like to see come to pass. There's tremendous value in that, don't get me wrong. But somewhere along the journey, and I don't know that I can even tell you when, to be quite honest with you, but somewhere along the journey, I came to realize that the true value of my spiritual journey wasn't in the knowledge and information that I was acquiring, but the true value and the true expression of one's authentic spirituality, the true testament of how progressed someone is on their spiritual journey, or even to a large degree how evolved someone is. Isn't these wonderful divine ideas that they have of an intellectual nature? But how pure the heart is, right? And there are a lot of scriptures that talk about um, the heart and the purification of the heart, right? In the biblical record, it says that God doesn't look at people the way that people look at people. People are usually looking at other people, themselves and other people, from a more egoic kind of standpoint. But it says that God looks at people respective to their heart. It talks about as a person thinks in their heart, such is that person, right? In Buddhism, um, the Heart Sutra, Gate Parasam, Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisvaha. It means gone, gone, gone beyond the beyond. All hail the enlightened one, right? Well, that's the Heart Sutra. Um, there's a song that I have that and I used to listen to it all the time. I don't listen to it as much now. I used to listen to it all the time, and it recited that Heart Sutra. And the name of that song, you know what the name of that song is? The name of that song is Heart of Perfect Wisdom. Heart of Perfect Wisdom. I'm wearing pink today, and as I put on this shirt, I very consciously put on this shirt because I wanted to reflect something related to love, right? And in my attire as I was broadcasting today. And as I was putting on this pink shirt, I thought about the fact that this is October. And much of the common world, at least in the West, relates to October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I will never acknowledge breast cancer awareness. I choose instead to focus on breast health awareness because I know that thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. I know that energy follows consciousness. I know that if the consciousness is on breast cancer, then that creates more cancer in the breast. However, if it's placed on breast health, it creates more health, right? And so even as I was putting the shirt on today, I thought about breast cancer. And I thought about the relationship between breast cancer and the health of a breast and the heart. Cancer, in general, there's a very, very strong correlation between cancer and resentment. Resentment. Greetings, Curly Conscious King. Good to see you this morning, my brother. Hope that things are going well for you. There's a very strong correlation between resentment and cancer. Both of them eat away at you, right? And I believe that there are mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual reasons behind every sickness, every dis-ease, right? And yes, there are a variety of things that happen in our lives that we've taken on in our mindset and our thought processes and our belief systems and our limited thinking or sometimes our stinking thinking, right? And also that we take on in terms of our emotional state, unresolved anger and resentment and hatred and bitterness and these things, such things of this nature. And those things have a way of storing themselves somewhere in the body temple. They exist within our mind, the mind not just existing in the brain, in the head, that's where the brain is, but the mind exists within every cell of the entire body. And a lot of times we've got different things going on that are unresolved that store themselves in the cells in different parts of our body. And then we develop issues in that part of our body. Well, the breast, when you think about the breast, you know, there are two things strongly correlated with the breast. Nourishment and nurturing, right? Those are kind of purposes of the breast in a lot of ways. Nourishment and nurturing. And um, a lot of times women can get out of balance where that's concerned and then end up having some resentments that are created. And then those resentments may begin to codify and to harden and manifest as a lump in the breast, right? And so I say that this is a heart matter in a way because two things cannot, it's a scientific law that two things can't occupy the same place at the same time. Resentment and love cannot occupy the same space at the same time. That doesn't mean that you might have, you could have some love and you could have some resentment. But if the heart, and I'm speaking of the heart in a twofold way, yeah, as a specific organ in your body, but also one's heart set, one's heart posture, right? The energy that one carries as it relates to how love is able to flow, right? Because what the heart does from an anatomical perspective is it pumps blood throughout the body. And in that blood is oxygen that's carried throughout the body, right? And the blood is circulated, the heart is circulating the flow of that life stream. The blood is represent. If you take all the blood out of your body, you're not going to be alive anymore. You will be unalived, right? But the heart, from a physical standpoint, it pumps that which gives life to the body throughout the body, right? It pumps blood throughout the body and it also pumps oxygen throughout the body, right? Because that blood is oxygenated every time it leaves the heart. Greetings, Renee. Good to see you in the space today. Proverbs 4:23. It dawned on me I don't have my bracelet on today. I looked down as I was going live and I realized I don't have my bracelet on. It's Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issues of your life. Yes, it's very important that we're mindful of what's going on in our heart, because if our heart is not purified, if our heart is not pure, if we've got some other stuff going on in our heart, that what happens is that life energy isn't able to flow throughout the entirety of our beingness. Right? God is love. The essence of God is love. We're made of the same stuff that God is made of. And therefore, our essence is also love. And so if we're pumping something throughout our system other than love, we're depleting our very own life force, right? And we're failing to push through and to circulate that which strengthens us, that's which energizes us, that which gives us new life and energy, that which allows us to be sustained and to be healthy and vibrant. It's all dealing with the heart, what's going on in the heart. And so I haven't always been in this place, folks. I'm telling you, I haven't. I don't say it with pride at all, but in a lot of ways, when I was younger, I was a jerk. Looking back on it, um, there are a lot of ways that I had about myself that I'm not proud of now. And part of the reason that I am how I am now is because of very intentional, deliberate, purposeful choosing to be a different way than I was previously. Aware of hurts and pains that I caused to others as well as myself that just weren't the best thing to do. And I'm wanting to, as much as possible, make things right now. Make things right from this moment and each moment going forward. All right. And a lot of that had to do with whatever stuff wasn't right in my own heart. And a lot of the stuff that you go through, and a lot of the stuff that you put people through, and I know you probably don't want to admit that you put people through some stuff, but the reality is you probably do. And I'm saying probably lightly, right? To the degree that we're unhealed, we're putting ourselves and other people through stuff that we don't need to be putting ourselves and other people through, right? And so the key I've come to realize is the heart posture that we have. And, this work, I didn't mention it today. We actually do healings in the Sunday Hope and Healing session through the methodology referred to as transcending the matrix. And I've seen a lot of medical miracles happen through transcending the matrix. And for a long time, I thought the healing was about the healing, about helping somebody become free of pain or tumors or repair broken bones or whatever the situation was. Seen all kinds of stuff be transformed through utilization of this methodology, this technology, if you will. But over time, I've come to realize, and it was always there. To some degree, I had hints of it, but it was always there. But it's been over a process of time that I've really become much more aware of the importance of the heart in this whole thing. If you are an initiate of transcending the matrix, you know something about purifying through the power of pure love. And the more I utilize this methodology, the more that I live, the more I recognize the importance of this pure love, the power of pure love, a love that isn't mixed with anything else, a love that isn't mixed with expectations, a love that isn't mixed with resentment, a love that isn't mixed with unforgiveness, a love that isn't mixed with the conditions of I'll love you as long as you do this, right? I'll love as long as it benefits me to do so, and I can see that, right? It's always going to benefit you to love, even though some of the stuff that we might call love sometimes really isn't love. Trying to control other people isn't love. Staying attached to highly toxic situations also isn't love, right? But let's deal with this thing about how to have a pure heart. And so, in terms of having a pure heart, pure heart, and A Course in Miracles talks about how purification is necessary. Course in Miracles is based on making miracles happen. It says that, but first purification is necessary. And this whole thing that we call life on earth is filled with a series of opportunities to get pissed off, bent out of shape, have our feathers ruffled, or to be able to rise in love. It's just a series of opportunities to be able to do that. It's a series of opportunities to get caught up in the matrix of illusion, the matrix of third dimensional beliefs of separation and limitation, and all of the fear, all of the false evidence that appears real surrounding that, or to see everything through the eyes of love. Put differently, to be spiritual is for you to see spirit in all, right? For you to be able to see God in the midst of everything, whatever it is that's going on, right? A couple of weeks ago, I was on the long pier at St. Petersburg. It was just after Hurricane Helene. There's still a lot of debris out, and I went to the edge of the pier and I was broadcasting. Some people thought I was on a boat because all you could see was water behind me. Water was actually right underneath my feet. All you could see was water. And there was a couple young men close by fishing and I was praying and something hit me in the back of the neck while I was praying. And I looked for a second to see what it was, and then I went back into the prayer while the young man was trying to get the hook out of my shirt. Um, but like God was in that moment too, right? God was in me praying, but God was also in the moment of getting hit in the neck with the weight or the lure or whatever it was that hit me in the back of the neck. And the way that God showed up in that moment was the grace for me to be able to go ahead and just pick up with a prayer. Every moment is an opportunity to see God. Every moment is an opportunity to grow or to rise in love. Every moment, the question is asked of me and of you. In this moment, who are you going to be? Who are you going to be? Are you going to be the wounded soul who continues to add to your own woundedness and to that of others? Or are you going to be the healing soul? The healing soul that embraces your own healing and wants to contribute to the healing of others. And guess what? In each day, there are, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but 60 times 60 times 24, whatever number that is, if somebody can calculate that real quickly, 60 times 60 times 24. Wait a minute, did I say that right? Yeah, 60 times 60 times 24. If somebody can calculate that and put it in the comments, I'd really appreciate that. Well, you got that many seconds, however, whatever that number is, you've got that many seconds in a day to choose who you're going to be in. Maybe 1 second you might choose one thing, another second you might choose something else. You might have an hour and a half in a row that you choose love, and you might have another 15 seconds that you choose fear and animosity and grief and regret and vengefulness and all of that other stuff, right? Doesn't mean it's the end of the world because you chose those other lower vibrational things for a time period, right? The good thing is you still have the opportunity to choose again. Left my water a little bit too far away today. And every moment you have the opportunity to choose again. Pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and start all over again. Right. And so let's get into some healing. Because it's one thing for me to talk and you hear what it is that I'm saying. It's another thing, to be able to do something that's going to create, some vibrational shifts in another way. So I'm going to ask each of us to take a moment and just focus on our heart center. And even as you're focusing on your heart center, I'm going to ask you to breathe deeply, but as you're breathe in like you're breathing in through your heart. And as you're breathing in through your heart, I'm going to ask you to breathe in the light of God's love. And as you exhale out the light of God's love. Breathing in the light of God's love. And even as you exhale, let the light of God's love expand and create a glow in your heart. What Luther Vandross called the glow of love. Breathing in the light of God's love. And on the exhalation, allowing that love to expand and grow in your heart to where it permeates the totality of your heart. And even as you continue to breathe in the light of God's love, and on the exhalation, let the light of God's love expand to begin to fill your entire chest cavity, and eventually the totality of your beingness. Breathing in the light of God's love. Breathing out the light of God's love, so that love is all you're breathing in. And love is all you're breathing out. And from this heart-centered space, we're going to pray. God, thank you that you are the healer. For the blessing of being able to be a vessel of your healing. And that love is the tool. And through the power of your pure love, demonstrate you as the healer. And if you're open to receiving the healing, I'm going to ask you, whether silently or out loud, say, I receive the healing, for the purpose of neutralizing the causal root of any darkness that any of us may carry in our hearts. And transmute that into and replace it with pure love light. The light of your love that brings healing to every aspect of our lives. And I bear witness to our wholeness on this date and in this time and space called now. Thank you, God. Thank you for this gift of your divine love. It is done. It is done. It is done. All right. So let's first of all, let's address some negative emotions. Well, look first and foremost at that resentment that I spoke about earlier, and purify that through the power of pure love. I'm going to ask you to anywhere in your life that you can think of, and don't judge yourself because you have resentment. Be honest enough with yourself to be able to acknowledge where you have it, who you might be having it towards, even if it's you, and even if it's God. And invite the light of God's love into the place where you're holding that resentment. Now, if you are holding that resentment towards yourself or to God, it's very likely that you also have some shame about it. And you might feel a little resistant to welcoming in the light of God's love, because you might feel unworthy of that love because of your shortcomings. Your shortcomings don't make you unworthy of love. Your shortcomings only speak to the fact that you need it more than you're receiving. And it's okay to open up yourself to receive it. In fact, I'm going to ask you to do a little affirmation and just silently repeat this to yourself. Even as I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm going to ask that you silently repeat this to myself. I am open. I am open to love. I am open to love now. I am open to more and more of the love that God has for me now. I am open. I am open to love. I am open to love now. I am open to more and more of the love that God has for me now. And just keep on repeating that, even as I'm working. Don't mind what it is that I'm saying. I'm just saying it because it would be extremely boring for me to be working silently. Um, I don't have to say what I'm saying for the healing to happen. But if I'm broadcasting, it makes sense for me to be speaking. So just let my voice kind of fade into the background as you're continuing to affirm I'm open. I'm open to love. I'm open to love now. I'm open to more and more of the love that God has for me now. Okay. All right. So let's look at fears that you might have regarding the idea that love hurts. You know, purify that fear through the power of pure love and transmute it into recognizing that love doesn't hurt. It's when people mix other stuff that's not love with love and pretend that love is all that's there. That's what hurts. Okay. So we're going to create a filter around and within your heart that filters out everything that's not love. That filters everything that's not love. Yes, pure love does make you vulnerable. It allows you to, wait a minute. Let me say this differently, Renee. Rather than pure love leaves you vulnerable, pure love creates a safe space for you to be vulnerable. I've often quoted this, that something that Howard Thurman said, that to know an ultimate security and an ultimate vulnerability, this is to be loved. This is what it is to be loved, to feel an ultimate security and an ultimate vulnerability. Pure love allows us to be safe in the presence of our vulnerability. Isn't that something that everybody wants? To be able to let their guard down and know they'll be okay. All right, so let's look at trauma in connection with people who said they love you. All right. In some cases, maybe they did. Could be family members who hasn't been disappointed, you know, in connection with somebody that you love. Maybe they made decisions that you didn't agree with, or decisions that end up resulting in pain for you, right? All right. Does it make them a bad person? We've all got different things that we're learning and growing through, and no parent, you know, had a manual. No mother had a manual pop out of the womb when you came out. No father was just automatically gifted with a womb, with a manual when you were born. Greetings, Melissa Kelly. Oh, I wonder why you weren't able to comment on YouTube. Thank you, and you have a beautiful day as well. All right, so let's look at failed expectations. We're going to purify that through the power of pure love and transmute failed expectations into elevated awareness regarding people's fallibility and giving them the grace to be something less than perfect without making that mean that you're something less than perfect. Okay. All right, let's strengthen that. And let's also address any confusion there might be regarding. All right, let's deal with mixed signals as it relates to love. A lot of times people have a hard time trusting love because of times they've been hurt in the past when the person they were interacting with, whoever that might have been, acted from a space of love in some moments, but acted from another place in other moments. Right? Or, or whatever stuff we had going on inside of us made us feel like we had to control another person in such a way that kind of pushed them away, right? And so, with respect to that, let's do some self forgiveness, strengthen the energy for self forgiveness. All right, forgiving ourselves for the ways that we've pushed love away, and forgiving ourselves for trying to extract love from people that didn't really have it to give it to us in the way that we felt like we needed it from them. All right. Okay. All right. Perhaps some of you all have done what I've done and found yourself in environments, situations, relationships, and so forth that just weren't good matches. It didn't mean that there was something wrong with you. It didn't mean it was something wrong with them. It just wasn't a good match. It wasn't a good fit. But it didn't make you any less worthy. Okay. All right. So let's also again do a little more strengthening of that sense of worthiness. Sense of worthiness and a sense of entitlement are a little bit different from one another. Sense of entitlement makes you think that you're owed something, and because you think you're owed something, you lose value and appreciation for it. A sense of worthiness comes from an awareness that you're a piece of God, right? And therefore, all the love that God has is available to you. And it's okay to receive it. And it's okay for it to flow through you, because allowing love to flow through you doesn't take away from the love that comes to you. All right. And so let's look at, we're talking about how to have a pure heart. So part of having a pure heart is allowing ourselves to be a vessel through which love flows. Now here's the thing. Years ago, I became very clear that anything that anyone does to me, any intention that someone has towards me, returns to them double, right? And I've seen this happen so many times. Oh my gosh, I've seen this happen so many times. That actually makes it a lot easier for me to forgive people. Because those who do good by me, good things come to them, and I'm able to celebrate that. Those who do ill to me, I know that they've got theirs coming, that the karmic wheel will spin around in such a way as to give them a sense of the experience it was that they sought to bring into my life experience. And I don't celebrate people suffering. I don't celebrate the people suffering. I don't celebrate suffering of people who, to use the vernacular, who did me dirty. That doesn't bring me any joy or pleasure whatsoever. Not at this point. No, there might have been a time where I was maybe a little bit more caught up in my ego that I might be at this particular juncture in my life. But it doesn't bring me pleasure to see people suffer, even if they try to create suffering for me, even if they succeeded in that, right? But anyway, knowing that whatever somebody intends towards me or does to me, that it's coming back to them double, it makes it a lot easier to let go of whatever somebody did in their brokenness, in their state of brokenness. So that's one level of, that's one thing that I've been able to look at that's helped to purify my heart. Now, here's another thing. Ooh, this one was more of a challenge. And this is something much more recent. I've entered into covenant with God that everything I do and every intention I have towards everyone else returns double to me. If you want to take on that challenge, I invite you to. I'm certainly not going to impose it on you, though, because not everybody is necessarily ready for that level of responsibility, right? That everything that you intend towards someone else returns to you double. I tell you what, though, you take that on and you will think twice before you do some stuff to somebody else, before you say certain things to somebody else, before, you find yourself wishing ill of the person that cut you off in traffic, right? Before you cuss out the incompetent person that you were talking with in customer service or in the line at the grocery store or wherever it is that you feel like somebody is ruining your day because you think they're stupid, right? You'll think twice before you wish ill on somebody, no matter who that person is. I'm not telling you I like everybody on the planet. Frankly, I don't. I don't. I do love everybody on the planet. I don't like everybody, though. I'm not a fan of everybody's personality. I'll put it that way. But I have to consciously now, because I've taken on this thing that I've taken on, I have to consciously be intentional about the heart space that I'm holding as it relates to other people, including the folks that I don't necessarily like, including the folks that I don't agree with, including the folks who would want to do me harm. I don't know if you're willing to take that on, but what I do want to do is, whether you're ready to take that on or not, what I do want to do is to address that link between your heart and negative experiences that you've had with other people in the past that make you want to get revenge on people, to purify that. The area in your body where you're holding that, to welcome the light of God's love into that space and to transmute and purify that through the power of pure love. Light and darkness can't exist in the same space at the same time, right? To the degree that you let the light fully occupy, the light of love fully occupy your beingness, to that degree, there's no space for the darkness. And where there's no space for the darkness, there isn't sickness or dis-ease, right? All right, so let's look at, I want to take a moment right now and look at unresolved ancestral issues. Okay. Some of us have had things, that we have as issues in our lives, that our parents had as issues in their lives, that their grandparents, parents and grandparents had as issues in their lives. One of the things that we've got to transcend in the matrix class coming up next weekend, Friday through Sunday, the 25th through the 27th. And for everybody who does the training, they've got to fill out a questionnaire. It's part of the application, a questionnaire. One of the questions is name somebody and even name a group of people that you have an issue with. Usually most people don't like to actually answer that question. They'll say nobody, because they feel like that's what the answer should be. That's like the spiritualized, idyllic response, but it's not the reality of what people actually experience in their real life. And I ask that question because it's all about healing. It's not about judgment, but it's about open up space for healing. Okay. All right. So let's look at you and your ancestors could have had issues with somebody else and somebody else's ancestors. Okay. So let's resolve that ancestral trauma, that ancestral break in relationship, and transmute it and purify it through the power of pure love to bring genuine, authentic reconciliation. Reconciliation soul to soul, not just personality to personality. Who is the powerful over who is the powerless? Not that, but soul to soul. Okay. Yeah. Heal those ancestral relationships, soul to soul, so we can get back to life. So we can get back to a better reality, right? Some of you music lovers might have seen what I just did there. Have a good time. All right, so let's look at aspect within your subconscious where you may feel like damaged goods. So we want to purify that through the power of pure love. Welcome in the light of God's love into the spaces and places within your beingness where you may on some level feel like damaged goods. You're not damaged goods. You've maybe had some things that you experienced that were damaging, that shook you, but you're not damaged goods. I encourage you to welcome the light of God's love into the space within you where you've held on to that hurt and you've held on to that false belief that you're damaged goods. And to transmute it and purify it into the redeemed awareness that you are whole, that you are good enough, and that you are more than enough. That you are love, you are lovable, you are loving, and you are loved. You are loved. And it's okay to receive that. It's okay to let that love in and welcome that love in. All right, now let's take a moment now, and I want to focus on your heart as a gateway between heaven and earth. Focus on your heart as a gateway between heaven and earth. So all of the things that keep your heart heavy or that weigh you down, make you feel heavy, Make your heart heavy. And to purify it through the power of pure love. That love is, so that your heart is really just swimming in love. Floating, in fact, in love. So that your heart is very, very light. Light in terms of the absence of weight, and light in terms of the absence of darkness. That your heart is filled with love and it's floating in love. Your heart is as light as a feather. Thank you. All right. All right. And that you can be at peace with being at peace about your heart being light. All right. Thank you, God. Noticing the time, it's almost 2:00. We'll wrap this up momentarily. All right. Now let's see. Let's look at resolving some karma. Because there are some folks who have had some purity in their hearts that you maybe didn't recognize or couldn't maybe fully appreciate because a purity that you saw in them you didn't see in yourself. And so you lashed out at them, you projected some of your own stuff on them, and you perhaps behaved badly towards them because you didn't feel worthy of exchanging with someone who is in that state or in that space of love. And you tried to take them, subconsciously tried to take them out of that space. Maybe there's some guilt and some shame regarding that, but let's look at addressing that karma. Whether real, some real karma there, but whether real or imagined. Most of this is actually real karma. All right, so we're going to purify that through the power of pure love. All of those karmas. Okay, all right. All right, we're going to welcome a sense of compassion into the place. Deep forgiveness. Extending forgiveness to yourself, open to receiving forgiveness. Not from a standpoint of entitlement, but from a standpoint of humbling yourself enough to recognize that you had some ways where you were in error. All right. And let's look at strengthening you for authentic empowerment. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm going to do one more. We're going to do one more correction, then we're going to get ready to close it out. Okay. This last one, again, I want you to focus on your heart center, breathing in the light of God's love. On each exhalation, allowing that love to grow and expand throughout the totality of your beingness. And if there's anywhere in particular that you might feel a tinge or you might feel something, direct that light there on your exhalation. Thank you, God. All right. So this last correction that we're going to do for today is to deal with the part of you that is rebellious towards your own highest and best good. All right, I'm going to purify that through the power of pure love. And give you and acknowledge your power over that part of you and those voices that call into question your worthiness. And want to strengthen you to recognize your own need for your heart to be continually purified day by day, moment by moment. All right. God, thank you so much for the blessing of being able to participate in this healing today, for the purification of our hearts, allowing us to be more free to be ourselves, and more freely expressive of who it is that we really are. Thank you for the purification of our hearts that's taken place today. And for all of those who are blessed as a result of us being a little more who it is that we were developed and created to be. Thank you for these and all the blessings that you shower upon. And Hashem Yeshua HaMashiach Ashe. Man. All right, beloved. The reason I say man like that is because the sound opens up the heart. It opens up the heart. Okay, well, Renee, Curly Conscious King, Melissa, everybody else who's been here with us today, everybody who's catching this on the playback. Thank you so much for being here and supporting what it is that we do. By your tuning in, it actually invites other people to tune in. I'm telling you, folks, the more people who are healed, the better it is for all of us. That means the fewer of us are walking around, in all of this negative energy, spewing it out all over the place, and the more of us are neutralizing that negative energy, right? Ron, good to see you in the space today, my brother. Good afternoon to you as well. And thank you, Curly Conscious King. I certainly appreciate that. All right. If any of you are at all interested in the class that we have coming up this coming weekend, don't wait long to let me know, because I have to get a manual to you in the mail. Minimally, what's it called again? Priority mail. Yeah, you're a priority. Anyway, the class is coming up this weekend, Friday through Sunday. By Saturday evening, you'll be able to do some phenomenal things. If you are already planning to be in the class, I'm going to ask you to round up as many people that you know who are experiencing pain, who have pain in their bodies, and have them prepared to come to the class Saturday afternoon around 5 o'clock Eastern time. The class is 11 to 7 Eastern. Be prepared to have folk that you know personally. It's on Zoom, so they can tune in regardless of where they are in the world. If they have pain, have them show up in the class. They're going to receive some healing. Okay. All right. That wraps us up for today. If you, for whatever reason, want to sew into what it is that we're doing, you can certainly do so. Cash App at $ Royce F. Thomason. Other than that, please know that I love you. I'm praying for wonderful things to happen in your life, that you may continually put one step after another in your spiritual journey. And that even though you might have times where you take a step back, time where you might veer off the path, it's okay, because you can always get back on the path and take a new step forward. Anyway, God bless you. I love you. And as we continue to endeavor to enter into the sustainable state of supreme satisfaction, I bid you adieu with peace and love. Catch you next time.